Hey guys, Happy Dude here, and this is something I really wanted to test for a long time, and that is the different weights in BBs against each other. We have the .25, .28, and .30 from the brand Valken. To know how good or bad these will perform, I am going to test the .25 against these .25 from Xtreme Precision because I know what they can do. They are very good and everyone recommends it. And I am going to do this test with my new Colt 1911 railgun. Why? Well, it's with CO2 and I know that's very consistent in power and FPS, and it's also easy to shoot and very accurate. Okay, let's begin. Okay, first we are going to try this one, the .25. Okay, next up, .28. Now surprisingly, the energy in the left top corner did not went up but lower, even though we have a heavier BB, and the FPS that of course went lower because we have a heavier BB, so that's logic. Okay, next up, .30. So the energy went up a bit and the FPS is about the same as the .28. Now for the accuracy test, I am going to do this at the shooting range with a big target and from 10 meters away, and also because there isn't any wind that could tamper with my results. And yes, for each test that I do, I use a fresh CO2 capsule also. The first BBs I am going to test are the Xtreme Precision's .25 gram. For each BB I am going to shoot about 15 BBs. Okay, next up also .25 but from the brand Valken. Okay, next up .28 from Valken. Okay, and now the final one, point 30 from Valken. Here are the results again. First, the Xtreme Precision 0.25. And here the 0.25 from Valken. And here you can clearly see that even though it's the same weight, it's only a different brand, there's a big difference. And here the 0.28 from Valken. That's a lot better. And here the 0.30 from Valken. A tiny bit worse in my opinion. Okay, for the next test I want to see if heavier BBs have a more impact. So I'm going to load from each kind 2 BBs into this magazine. The most heaviest, point 30, will be at the bottom, then point 28, and then point 25. And I'm going to test that at 3 cans to see which BB can go the furthest. And I'm also going to test how many of these targets it can pierce. Okay, first the point 25. So it went in, but it did not exit. And now also point 25 to see how many papers we can pierce. One, two, three, four, they stick together. 5, 6, 7, and 8. Barely, almost 8. So I'm going to need more. Okay, next up, the point 28. It entered, and it also exit. And it made a very small dent into the second. I'm going to take a new one for the next .30. Okay, so still .28. I'm now holding 10 papers. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So also 8, but it went a bit further and made a very small dent. Okay, and now .30. Yes, I think it went through, but it's a very small hole. And also a very small dent into the second one. So it's basically the same. Okay, and now we are going to try the .30. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's exactly the same. I think that's because these BBs here are too heavy for this type of gun, and even though you have more mass and weight and it should be making more of an impact or damage, the fact is once the BB is too heavy, it cannot travel as fast, and that's why it does not enter so much papers, as you can see. And we also saw that in the FPS test. Okay, here is my conclusion from the brand Valken. The .28 was of course the most accurate. For the impact and the power of these BBs, the results were about the same. I didn't expect that, but that were the results. I think that's because you have the same amount of power inside the gun that the CO2 can provide. So when you put in a heavier BB, it will travel a lot slower, and that's why the weight of the BB can't give enough impact anymore. So to make this a bit easier to understand, because BBs are not the same as real bullets and real guns, we have here a .22 and a .45. As you can see, the head of the bullet is a lot smaller of the .22. That's why we have a very small housing, so less gunpowder. And of course, with this very big head of the .45, we have a lot bigger housing, of course, with a lot more gunpowder in, so a lot more power to propel the head of the bullet. But I'm very glad I tested this because now I finally know, and you guys too. And so the BBs from Xtreme Precision are the most accurate, the most consistent, and now I know why everyone recommends them. Okay guys, that was everything. I hope you liked the video. If you do, give me a like and maybe subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye.